Alright, people. Hi. It's a bit late in the evening here. But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're from. Right. So I just thought I'd get started for the night before I got to my project work. I could just do some TA. And it's looking good so far on Bitcoin. You can see the golden cross on the 4-hour right here. Right. What this signifies is that the price has successfully reversed from the previous death cross, which was let's see, right here. Right. So what typically happens when a cross happens is that the price is usually attracted towards the cross and it gets rejected or bounced off it maybe once or twice till it can actually find direction, right? So I'm expecting some similar movement here. The reason for the 50 MA going upwards is the price action itself, right? So it has to pull down a little bit, and I do have a pullback target already in play. Hang on. So this is my pullback target for now. The range between 10,700 to 10,400, and it really hasn't changed. And I can see the higher time frames are starting to go a bit overextended, with the 4-hour showing some signs of bearish divergence right here. Right, it's not a bearish divergence yet on the 4-hour. This is the hidden one, but it should pull back at some point, right? And why do I say at some point? Just because this is very, very clearly an uptrend. So it can't really go straight up, can it? Has it done it in the past? Yes. Am I expecting some kind of that behavior to happen? Not yet. It's a bit early for that. It needs to have a few pullbacks and some further consolidation. So this is the downtrend on the log chart. I really don't understand why people are saying we've broken it. There's significant room to the upside here. I mean, I'm looking at this area specifically. If you want to break it at some point, right? So there's like, I can already see some bullish exhaustion. But what do I know? The candles are saying a different story. The candles are saying we've had one random pullback here. I think this was a TD9 at some point. Let's see. Right. Also, feel free to just tag me and put up your questions in the Trade Readers chat, and I'll answer those right away. Any coin whatsoever. Right. We could start with Neo. I think that's pending an update. I want to do XLM. I want to do Stel. I want to do Ripple. I wanted to do Ethereum. That's also due. So and I'll look at both pairs, US dollars and Bitcoin. At this point, I mean, I can see let's see, the count starting to get a little exaggerated. This could have a run to 13, in my opinion. It still did have a small pullback right here, but it's just not enough. You need something like this to restart or to reset the RSI on higher time frames, right? You need a significant pullback. And on the daily, it's the same thing, except the daily doesn't really pull back that often. If you've looked at bull runs before, right? These pullbacks. So where are we in terms of recovering? We're right here, where a significant bounce has already happened, and we're now looking for a reversal to the upside. And this is what I would be expecting, and much faster though, but this is what I would be expecting, because this is the daily chart. Keep this in mind. Sorry, a little slower on the current chart, right? So I would expect some pullback, hopefully to high 10,000s or low 10,000s. But yeah, this is usually the anatomy of a correction, where you have a significant pullback with a huge wick, then a correction wick to the upside, a little indecision, then continuation upwards until you break out very cleanly right here. So there are no double tops. Keep this in mind. If you make it to 20,000, we're likely going up. Let's see. Weekly looks really good on Bitcoin, right? You still need a close above this level right here. So we're already retraced this far. That's a very good thing in my opinion. A second green candle was all we needed. Very clean reversal. Now I'm going to switch over to alts for a while, and it's very important to talk about those, just to get people in the idea of what's going to happen. I'm going to start with NEO because this is a coin that a lot of people have money in. Yeah, so my take profit call was, let's see, it was right here, right where I was expecting significant downside, and that was all for a very specific reason. There is nothing in the chart itself that indicated some weakness at that point. It was at support. Why would I not buy? Right, because Bitcoin was pending an up move, and historically, whenever Bitcoin has had up moves, and let's go back to December for this. Let's see, 12th of December. This was the entire bull run on Bitcoin, right here. See what happens? And this was the Bitcoin bear move there on the whole correction that happened. See how NEO responded to the first day of the correction, or rather the first week of the correction, right? It's very stupid to think that buying NEO when Bitcoin's on a run is gonna end well. It's really not. And this particular correction serves as a fairly good idea of what is going to happen. So I have to start thinking about where the all-time highs were and what kind of corrections typically happened. So what we'll do is we'll simply have a measured move, right, from this high, because this was October, right, and sorry, yeah, it's September and October. So around, let's see, yep, so that's the end of the correction. That's the starting of the BTC correction, right here. 12th, 13th, this was the area. So up to this point, right, and from the measured previous high, how much of a correction did we have? So let's go from, cool, let's take it from November, 1 month, right? You had a 60-70% correction, and that is exactly what I'm expecting from the high. It's a 70% correction to the downside, 68-70% correction, right? Which is why I have this green triangle right here, because I intend to buy a lot of NEO in this area, and I think I'm expecting a 70% correction anyway, so I'm buying at this level. That's at 0.0057. Now don't be angry, there's nothing to be angry about. If you don't like the way I'm charting, just all you need to see is the history, right? I understand the emotions you're feeling, but you need to understand that this is a market cycle. This is what happens every single time. You can't really like avoid it by simply ignoring it. It's also not a good idea to do that. It's the same way as expecting something good to happen. If you buy at an all-time high, like if you bought in this area, you've probably already taken profit the first time you tested support and then bounced off it, right? The smartest move to do that has already happened. So if you're holding NEO, I hope it just I hope it's above your entry, because we're going to see much more downside, right? And I still stand by my words. I think this is the region where it's a good buy. I have not changed my mind. Also, we'll do ICX. Yes, ICX was also on my list a week ago. Might do an update. All right, so ICX, and what else do we have? XVG, that's Verge. Okay. I mean, are you really surprised? Bitcoin just did a run. The only people that have not seen this are the people that haven't been around long. I don't blame you. And the people that have not sold yet and are holding from this level support, they'll be very surprised to find that when Bitcoin breaks 12,000, this support breaks cleanly through. It's not going to last a third test. But we'll see how this reacts. Also, I'll do ETC. That's a good point. Let's see. Let's add ETC to that list. So that's it for NEO right now. There's probably nothing on the NEO USD chart that suggests a move to the downside. Yeah, it's just reacting to the current Bitcoin fluctuation. That's all. There's nothing huge in terms of buying. The only thing I can see is a failed pullback or a failed retrace where the price has failed this key price point between 61 to 78%, right? 62 to 78%. And the reason for that is very simple, that if this key area fails, there's very likely to be further downside. Plotted as follows, right? But I really don't expect this to happen. That would be a huge correction in the whole market. I mean, 44 is very unlikely. But in my opinion, in terms of USD value, I think this range is a pretty good buying range for now. Should see a double bottom, then a move up, right? So if you wanted to see it this way, this is a good buying range. So yeah, that's Neo for you. What's next? What's next? Let's see. Yeah, we have Ripple. Ripple, I think, did fairly well recently. Oh, maybe not. I'm not Korean, but okay. Ripple. Where do I start? I mean, I called the top right here. Then I called a dead cat right here. It's not really had much of a serious pullback, right? So I'm expecting this area to be a support line. And this chart is like strangely empty. I have charted Ripple before. I'm surprised it hasn't shown up. So this line is a very clean support on Ripple. The next support is right here. Right? Do I expect it to go down there? It depends fully on Bitcoin in terms of what it does in the next week or so. But tell me what you think, right? What's next? You tell me. You've seen this happen. And I'll very calmly remind you of this activity right here. See if you see anything common, perhaps, right? So usually the second week of the move up is very damp. It's not supposed to be huge. The second week is kind of where price chills for a while, consolidates, takes some time, and then continues up. So it looks like Ripple has had its time. Although there was a move that was called by Arts a few days ago that did fairly well. If you were able to long there and then exit at a profit, this would have been near a far more supply region, right? And you would probably have exited seeing that Bitcoin was starting to go up. There's no, I mean, I could try doing some cloud analysis. Hang on. Yeah, it's not looking too good for Ripple, unfortunately. You've had a bearish sticky cross, you've had significant move to the downside, Como twist to the, and what's happening, it's still dumping. Was this in a single day? Oh boy, that's not good. It actually failed the daily crowd right here. Oh boy. So yeah, this one is like, it has some potential for a correction to this point. In terms of fibs, let's see, it seems to line up fairly well with this buy area. Because this is the support and not right here, maybe it could correct a little bit further. Let's see, because this has been a supply region before. So if Ripple was to be bought, it would be bought in this region, not anywhere above it. So Ripple's pretty much going to correct even further. Versus the dollar, looks like a pullback. There's a TK cross. This looks fairly similar to the weekly Bitcoin chart, slightly accelerated if at all. I'll just show you that for reference. So this is the weekly. So it's had a huge move to the upside. It's a little phase shifted, but huge move to the upside, then a correction. The only difference is that Bitcoin never broke below the cloud, right? But this did, and the lagging span is still behind the cloud, which is sort of a good thing. So if the lagging span continues upwards, which means that the price action rebounds at this level, similar to the lagging span, and it crosses above the cloud at the same time, that would be fairly bullish for Ripple, right? And I'm sure this would be reflected very harshly in the Ripple versus Bitcoin. You need to keep this in mind that Ripple is dependent on Bitcoin. There's no way to avoid it. It's not decoupled at all, right? Contrary to what people think, it's not how it works. So there's no need to draw fibs here. We have that from the Ripple Bitcoin chart, but like I would expect a swing to the upside after this dead cat is done. Still looks like a dead cat, like I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Daily's turning downwards, bearish divergence right here, and the fact that this is a very significant bearish divergence is because the faster has already crossed the slower moving average on the stock RSI, right? And it's already below the cloud. So this is significantly bearish for Ripple versus the US dollar for now. There should be some respite perhaps when the keyzone catches up and the price tends to bounce off at once. Should give you guys an exit point if you're still holding Ripple. I would like highly suggest you don't hold Ripple, because unless there's a crisscross, a buying opportunity won't occur unless the TK crosses, right? And I really don't suggest buying when it's a overbought, especially to this extent. But yeah. Alright, so the next is XLM, Stellar Lumens. I gave a call for XLM, let's see that too. Alright, I'm gonna go back in history for a second. Let's see. Ripple, ADA, XLM. Okay, so this was the initial idea that I had. A symmetric triangle was forming on XLM BTC. That symmetric triangle is broken down into the cloud. Yeah, that's the 4-hour chart. So I'm gonna do this. And let's see. My sincerest apologies for my voice. I know it doesn't sound too good right now. Can't really help it. I'm not doing really well right now. I'll be okay in a couple of days though. Just in time for my exams, I hope. Alright, so this was the symmetric triangle, right? Yep. Just a little bit lower, but I mean, this is a clear response to the Bitcoin run, right? And you probably had a stop loss at this level. Should have had one at the previous swing low. So that was the previous swing low. So you're probably already stopped out of XLM. It's not supposed to look good. I wasn't expecting to see green when I opened the chart. And the downside target for this is like very clear. So if I take this, clone it, put it over here roughly. The downside target for XLM is 0.00002104 right here at this level, and that would match up fairly well with the former resistance, now turn support, right? Simple geometry, nothing too hectic. The cloud seems to have supported that. There was a very bearish TK cross plus followed by a Komo twist. There was an attempted breakout or rather an attempted motors to the bullish side right here when the price was crossing this region, but it's just continuing down. So XLM is not a good buy yet. It looks like it's having a huge correction. That's fairly big. So at what point do you see a good buying opportunity? I see it right here. Again, see what happens, right? The 70% region usually matches up with a measured move caused by a pattern. It matches up with a support region. And yeah, I mean, if, oh boy, that's really not good. Like, this kind of a correction is very harsh. I hope if you're not holding this, feel free to remove it from your portfolio. I mean, not at this point, certainly it's probably too late for that. Is it though? Like, it's 1.5 times its expected value right now, right? Yeah, I have some competition from several chimpanzees in India as well. These guys perform so much better in school compared to me. I wish I was a chimpanzee sometimes. Okay. TRX and DGP, cool, we'll do those in a second here. So what have we done so far? We've done Ripple, XLM, Neo. We'll add, what do we have to add? TRX, DGP, sub. What else? Held for review. Okay. Yeah, I'll do sub, don't worry. Yeah, so that's it for Stellar Lumens. I'm not going to go to the US dollar chart. This is sufficient enough to tell you there's much more downside coming. Okay, Ethereum. Ethereum's fairly important. That is just beautiful. Makes me really happy. Okay, so I had an Ethereum ID. I'm going to quickly open that. You see how Thylopis popped up? Because I've been Googling him fairly. That's some bullshit. I'm not a robot. I don't need somebody to tell me that. Okay. Let's see. Ideas. Ethereum. Where are you at? Okay. Ethereum broke support. Right here was support. So this is 0.098. It's at 9. It's, oh boy, that's a huge correction. So the next support level I see dropping down to 0.0789. It's at 7.9. It's fairly close to a buy zone. Okay, this fib is from, cool. So let's just draw this fib really quickly. Body of the candle. Okay. So it's having a much bigger correction than I thought. The support level don't make sense, right? Okay. Oh, I had a much bigger idea. Wait. This is on the 4-hour chart. I'm on the 4-hour chart. Let's switch the cloud on. Okay. So I was expecting a C-clamp in this region. That's exactly what has happened. C-clamp and the price, well, actually C-clamp did not happen. A C-clamp is when the price moves to the equilibrium. Apparently the price just fell down because of the price itself. Sorry, the keychain just fell down because of the price. Ethereum's not looking good, guys. The first level of support I have is at 792, which it's at right now. And I think this comes from a previous area of support. That's right, it does. The next support I have is at this level, 0.0580. that would match up by a parabolic move on Bitcoin. 5.8. Let's see. It's roughly this level, give and take. So that's a buying region from this fib drawn to the top. So let's just draw that fib. Hang on. Okay. Okay, so it's on its way. Where should you buy? You should buy between these regions. Looks good. Fairly optimistic target in my opinion. It will make it there. BTC rally will result in Ethereum Bitcoin pullback. It looks good so far, and I think a chimpanzee would have done it better actually. But yeah, so that's Ethereum for you. There's no real change from my earlier call to drop Ethereum from your portfolio for now. Let's see, what's the other idea I had? Ethereum US dollar. So I'm assuming nothing special has happened, and in assuming that I would be right, nothing special has happened on this chart. That's for a very simple reason. You already know the reason. I'm not going to state it. It's just obvious, right? It shouldn't really pull back in dollar value. There's no particular reason for that to happen right now. The whole pullback will happen versus the Bitcoin value at this point, right? The next thing that we're going to do is ICX. So if you were here for Ethereum, I think you have news. You had news back in, like, when was that idea? Let's see. That idea was on February 14th. That was a whole week ago. Oops. Yeah, it was a whole week ago. So I will be listening to my own calls, by the way. Yeah. ICX. This is a Binance coin? Okay. Are you expecting to not see this? Did I do ICX? I think I have. Yeah, right here. Yeah, so I was expecting a TK cross to the bullish side, Como was flat. I'm expecting the BTC correction completely ruined that. So the TK crossed below the cloud here, uncrossed here, and is continuing now. So if I was to think of a pullback, right? Icon, ICX is icon. Okay, cool. If I was to expect a pullback in terms of fibs, where would it be? There's not enough data to suggest anything. But if I took the open data, like stuff that was there from where it started, I would expect a correction to almost where it's coming to right now. It's already in a buy zone, but keep in mind this coin just came out, like, literally that was a month ago. Oh, sorry, in the end of 2017. It was a couple months ago. There could be much more downside. It could correct at least perhaps with this area, because this is the kind of behavior you see from when coins are just launched. They typically have a huge upside. People start buying, optimism, and then when something major happens to Bitcoin, it starts correcting. So that's exactly what's happening right now. Add to that fact that people are panicking after the support was broken. Further panic will ensue when this support is broken, the 70% support, and then you should see a flash dump to this level. But again, a chimpanzee could tell you this, right? Just drawing a fib and stuff. Where would I buy? I'd buy right here, if at all. I'm not buying above this level, period. It's an altcoin, an unknown altcoin with unknown fundamentals that I do not recognize. I would buy this level. This is a former support, by the way. So if you were to draw lines of support, there is some support here, but once it reaches this level, it bounces on it once and then breaks down, so it'll look something like this. Bounce back down. Here you'll see some consolidation for like maybe a few months. It should be a fairly big move to the upside, right? This should collide with the Bitcoin consolidation slash pullback from a all-time high. But for now, it doesn't look too good. It's looking very similar to something I've traded for a long time. BAT went up initially in value, then never truly had anything, right? In terms of return on investment, it wasn't really a good deal. And this is, I mean, if you bought at this rally here and didn't sell and you were waiting for it to, hold that support, that hasn't happened. Good. So that was ICX. The next thing we're doing is Verge, Verge, XVG. It's holding, I mean, this support right here, right? I'm assuming this is a fib from the run up to here. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, it is. It's a 70% correction fib. So it's already in the zone. I know nothing of the fundamentals. Keep this in mind. I'm not responsible for this coin being an exit scam and all that stuff. But I still wouldn't buy this. I mean, I know nothing about the coin, right? I typically don't. I don't flip coins unless there's some immediate potential to the upside, which I don't see right now. It's completely flat. It had some consolidation. Sorry, it had a pull up here. I'm assuming this was a exchange listing or something. There could be a short-term buying opportunity. Let's see. It's going to have a bearish TK cross on the 4 hour. So if I was to ignore that for 1 second, where would I buy it? Buy it here. So it's in the buy zone, but again it's going to break that 78% fib zone if the correction continues. So it could be a good buy. Yeah, you could try to buy it right here and then have a stop loss at this level, right? So if you're buying at the 79% fib, which is a decent buy, it's not bad. Where you would be looking to sell, where would you keep your exit? I'd keep it personally right here, quick in and out, because I know nothing of the fundamentals. So this would be the trade itself. Long here, exit here, stop loss here, 2.62 risk reward. Damn. But I mean, I don't see any way for it to go up unless Bitcoin pulls back. I think it's time with the Bitcoin pullback at this point. Are we breaking into the daily cloud? Oh boy, the C clamp is actually working on the daily chart on Bitcoin. The C clamp was right here. And now it's pulling back. So I think the next move on Bitcoin is to break this area right here, March 6th. Yes, could just break into the cloud, which it would be very extreme if it broke into the cloud right here. This is very premature. I was expecting further consolidation matched with lower levels, but anyway. So Verge could be a decent buy. I'd see what Bitcoin is doing and then consider it for a quick flip to the upside. And that's the only reason I say that is because there hasn't been a bearish tick across yet. on the 4-hour chart right here. I could probably go down to the 1-hour chart and see what's up. It's trying to hold the support. It depends. If Bitcoin pulls back from here, this target is very optimistic. You could be able to flip it quickly if you bought at that level and sold it here. It's a fair 20% something move. You're risking very little for that kind of move, right? But again, do your research. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. But I'm seeing some early signs of consolidation, but it looks like people are dumping because of Bitcoin. So yeah, the next thing we're going to do is Ethereum Classic. That's perfect. Why is this a dead cat? Is it because of Bitcoin? Probably. So let's just see my idea very quickly. Yeah, it missed significantly. But what? No, it didn't. Oh, that's pretty. So it landed exactly on my retrace. This was the second breakout. This was the first breakout. The box I have drawn is between 0.0317 and 298. That's exactly what happened. I think people were expecting a pullback at this level, which is why we had a green candle right here. But it looks like a very clear buy has happened. However, oh, by the way, this call was made on the 14th of February. Again, this was a week ago, so you had plenty time to listen to this damn call, right? Because I pay a lot of attention to the to Bitcoin, so I don't tend to buy. So this buying level I had was 0.00296. Did it hit that? 296. No, it didn't. The bottom really missed, but the buy region was successful. How about the sell? The sell was at, let's assume the worst, right? So 3.8. Didn't really make it all the way, but I mean, if you had time to scale out, you probably did. So this trade worked out really well. Okay. There should be more upside to Ethereum Classic. The only reason it's being pulled downwards is because of Bitcoin, no other reason. And that is why I think if Bitcoin keeps going, which it still is, by the way, it's not stopping. That's a new high. If it closes in 7 minutes, which it will, that way. Yeah, I should have listened to my own call here. Would have been a decent trade. But again, I was so focused on buying this region, I completely forgot. I bought Bitcoin at this level. No, right. I longed it here, called it live and everything. Not gonna boast much, that's really bad for my mental health. Looking fine. It's looking fine. So the Ethereum Classic is still on its way. I'm assuming if Bitcoin corrects a little bit, it could continue on its way up. See bigger move to the upside, because this looks like a dead cat for some reason. Dead cats don't really happen. This looks like a decent retrace, as I said, but this level is confusing me. It could be a bearish divergence at a later level. We'll see. If it makes a higher high on the stock RSI, we'll see. We'll come back to this. The next thing that we're doing, the next thing we're charting is Tron. Are there any other comments, by the way? Anything else needed? Yeah, fair point. Omis go. We'll do Omis go, but why are we charting also the debt, right? Because we have to identify good buying points before they happen. That's all. That once Bitcoin starts retracing, where do you buy, right? And if it's in your buy, you buy it right now. That's the idea. Plus, you won't be bag holding for long. Typically, if you buy the dip on anything, it's probably going to go up at some point. You can exit at profit. So we are doing TRX. Charting is never a bad idea, by the way. At least you have an idea what's going on. I drew the support right here on TRX, so I'm assuming I've already charted it. No, I haven't. It's at a historical support on the daily chart, although it's showing early signs of breaking. I mean, Tron could be a good buy, but it's testing the support for the fourth time. If it wasn't looking like this on the Ichimoku, I would have bought it. I think I'll have to go to the weekly, see what's going on. What even is that? What is this wick? Okay. Okay. So I think this was a buy point I drew from the 70% retrace. Would I buy this? And where would I sell? So I would sell it here, buy it at this level where it is at. If this support breaks, the next support is anywhere between, well, this whole box here is a demand zone. There's nothing, there's absolute void in this 10% something price difference, right? And the next support is all the way down here. Could correct even further. Yeah, so that's Tron. There's nothing special happening here. If you want to buy the dip, go ahead. But just look at the overall pattern. It's had lower highs, so it's still bearish in my opinion. Next thing that we're looking at is so Tron is done. We have DGP next, sub, and then we'll add OMG to that list because somebody requested it. Okay. OMG is bullish. So, okay, we'll do it. I'm sorry, I'm speaking Hindi out of habit. We'll do it after we've done DGP and starters, my promise. Okay, so it's at a historical support. That's the first thing I can see. The second thing I can see that if it breaks this historical support, and this is assuming that Bitcoin continues upwards, this is the next historical support, right? From a fib point of view, that makes a lot of sense. I'll adjust this so that the fibs fit. It's okay, let's keep them like this. So that's roughly the whole supply region. But if the support breaks, though, it could go all the way to the 78 correction, 79% correction. Yeah, I mean, DGB is still a good buy. I've heard it's had good fundamentals. I'm going to leave that for you to decide, the fundamental part. But if Bitcoin continues up, it will most likely fall further. Let's see what this looks like. I mean, that's a very obvious C clamp that's coming, and the cloud is flat-ish. But again, that's what I said right here. It's what I said here. It's what I said here. It's what I said here. correction is coming, the correction is coming, the correction is coming, and it's really not. So at this point, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just rolling in my fiat right now, not doing much. Why? Because I'm not gonna long a top, and I'm certainly not gonna long a dip that's like $400. This wasn't certainly worth it. It's just had a retrace. But if you were scalping, you probably had like a fair idea of where to buy. Knew this move would somehow hold this level. So cool, there's that. If you were playing flips on the lower time frames, you could have done that. Could have, would have, should have. I don't believe in that shit. So if you're scalping, your move. I'm kind of out today. I'll scalp tomorrow though. My door scalping video. Cool. So this was DGB. The next thing to do is sub. Also, I'm not going to repeat myself on the cloud perspective. That's obviously bearish. Same thing as every other altcoin. What's going on? This looks terrible, I know. I was expecting to see things like these. But really, this bad? It looks like the Bitcoin correction. If you zoom out to the 4-hour chart, just as terrible, except it's on lower market cap coins. Man, this looks terrible. I mean, obviously you never had to take a beating against the dollar. But why would you, right? The end goal is to have more Bitcoin for me, so I would. Alright, so let's just do this and see what's happening. It broke the 79 level, so there's like this support was the extremest possible retrace right here. So you're expecting it to go down to first this and then the 88% retracement. I think I would buy the 88%. I heard substratum is decent, it's not terrible. So I think I'll buy this level right here. Yeah, I'll be buying this level. Where will I exit? I will exit at, and please don't blame me for having very pessimistic targets. It's just, as far as also concerned, I don't like to stay in for an extended period of time. You know what, that's not really, yeah, I would just keep my risk reward ratio very crisp on this. If it's going to retrace, it's going to be really hard, but my stop loss would be a 20% loss in this case, for an expectation of 120% pull back upwards if Bitcoin pulls back, right? So you see how I'm saying how Bitcoin pulls back. I'm sure it must be annoying, but I really have nothing else to say. That it's expected. All I'll say is that this has happened before, and if you go back in history on, say, well, I'll do this with Omisco, but this happens very frequently. It happens every single time something extreme happens to Bitcoin, up or down. OMG is holding fairly well. I think I'd buy, though it's at a high right now. Okay, let's see. Can we have a retrace? Buy. It's holding surprisingly well for something that's supposed to correct hard. This is the hourly time frame. It's had an 88% pullback from the previous move up. I would have bought anywhere between this region, which means that it's still a good buy, technically speaking. What's the price right now? Dollar terms? Is it above 20? 19. So it's a decent buy. I think in dollar values, OMG is a decent buy at anywhere between 15 to 18. I don't think this is going to fall down much further though. I'm seeing very obvious signs of high volume consolidation. And had the Bitcoin pump not happened yesterday and day before, this shit is something that you wouldn't have expected at all. On the daily chart, if you had to look for a pullback, what would you be looking at? I think this is an uptrend. very clear uptrend. You've had, I think I had an OMG call somewhere. No? Okay. Bullish TK cross gave you the opportunity to buy again. So by the way, and this is a trading tip in general, usually if you're going to long, it should be very near or at the key zone, right? Because if the price is bouncing off the key zone, it's probably going to retrace fairly hard upwards. Unless the key zone support breaks, and that's basically the first sign of a breaking price, right? So at this level, for example, this is where the Tenkan and key zone were. The price broke the key zone, and then the key zone continued upwards. This is a fairly bearish sign. It indicates that if you're still in the trade, you should be out of it. You should consider selling even if you're at a loss, because there's a significant chance that the price is going to continue downwards. That's like common sense trading in terms of moving averages, right? But so far OMG looks good. I think it's doing really well. So yeah, if you're in that range, I would consider it as a buying opportunity with a stop loss at this level, with the expectation of a continuation move upwards. If the Bitcoin value starts to fall, it could keep going up. That's the thing. So OMG definitely is worth it, right? Cool. So that's it. Not seeing any other requests. NULS, is that a coin? Nulls. Oh, it is. I'm so sorry. Rajiv Mitra. What are these wicks on altcoins? I've seen them enough times, but okay. %61 correction, 62. Could see some more downside. It depends on how much market cap this coin holds. If it's like really small, it could correct harder. Market cap's like 6,000 Bitcoins, bro. Nope. Not buying it. I think I'll see an 88% correction, and then I'll buy it. What's alive? That's a Neo. Okay, let's do Neo. You already did it, I know, but yeah. Daily chart looks dead. 4-hour chart also dead. Somewhat. Did it just have a TD9 buy? Is that what people are saying? That doesn't look like the 4-hour chart. Let's see. That's the hourly. Okay. High volume buys, just like this area. Let's see what happens. So this looks like it's going to start an uptrend. Early indication. But the point is this a significant retracement level or not? Right? And it looks like it's an 88% pullback. So again, the point is that it broke the 79% level, right? So I still wouldn't buy. I want a correction on a higher time frame. That's it, right? And you have to keep in mind that this particular target that I have, all of these targets are significantly optimistic in terms of buying, right? So this could continue to go upwards. That's fairly possible, especially if there's a higher low and a bullish divergence somewhere, which I don't see. There's definitely no bullish divergence. Wait, is there? You would want the daily to close. So this is okay. There's a fact that you had a bullish, hidden bullish divergence right here, right on Neo. Still failed to give you a higher high. Let's see. I'll let it take its time. If it has to have a trend reversal while my pullback is missed completely, that's okay with me. As long as I can get a decent trade for myself, that's okay. Right? That's the end goal, to get a decent trade. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any more requests, now's the time to say it. When and IOST. Let's do when first. When, I believe, is an old favorite of a friend. When's holding. Nice. So this was a support level. This looks like a local buy region. Hang on. Okay. Starting off an uptrend. Pulling back. Cool. So this looks primed for a buy actually. If I was buying them, I would buy it. For a quick move to the upside, I'd buy it right here and sell it. So let's assume there'll be a 70% pullback for now. Let's assume it'll be a 62% pullback. This is what it should look like. Move to the downside. Continuation of the move up. Right? And where do you sell as a smart investor? You will sell far below that target. You will sell at this range right here. Buy here, sell here. Simple. That's when. I mean, on a high time frame, it looks like it's had its correction to the downside and it's continuing a move up. This looks like a broken inverse head and shoulders somewhat. This being the neckline. I said somewhat. It's not exactly an inverse head and shoulders though. Left shoulder is lower than the head. Doesn't count. But it does count as an upward channel a little bit. I think there is this a rising wedge? Somewhat. Still a channel probably. We'll see what when does. I think it'll the target pullback, right? So it's the bottom of the channel, I believe. Yeah, somewhere around this level. So what you'll see is a pullback, then a move to the upside. It's fairly expected. So yeah, that's when. IOST. Let's do it versus Bitcoin. That's dramatic. I don't know what IOST is. It looks like it just had a listing and then the ICO people hyped it up and then sold it. That's exactly what it looks like. It's nothing different. There's not enough data here. I don't know on the fundamentals either. But I mean, you'd expect some consolidation. What typically happens is you have like some time of consolidation at this level and then a move to the upside. So you want to see this consolidation happen first. You want to see a support and resistance establish, a sideways channel essentially. This happens on all coins, all altcoins and Bitcoin. It's happened there like way in the past, right? I just want to see how this bit goes. Starts at 0.00023. and dumps all the way. The listing itself is funny. Cool. Yeah, it's not a good buy right now. I'd wait like maybe anywhere between a week and a month to see where this goes. Cool, so let's just quickly discuss BTC again. Let's see what's going on and what I am expecting, and then we can, end this live stream. Yeah, all your rolls are done. And I'll need a naked chart for this, something that's just clean, right? Just to have a fresh idea of what's going on. I'm going to add sequential on this. Okay, I need to just very quickly go to the other way. This is Ars's chart, by the way. Don't tell him I'm using it. Okay, so it's in the 12-hour cloud. We've had a very bullish TK, bullish cross here, right? This is a linear chart, just by the way. Yeah, this is a linear chart. It's not a log chart. So on the log chart, the downtrend looks like this. Go to the daily. This is the downtrend on the daily chart in log, right? So in log, it's significantly up. It's not here, but once it breaks the daily or the downtrend on the linear chart, it's significantly possible that it continues to the upside of the cloud, which is at 13,000 roughly. We've entered the cloud, period. It's just going to keep going. It'll have a small pullback, I hope, a C-clamp here on the 6-hour chart, and that will be really well timed because there's a TD8 on the 6-hour chart. That's interesting. So I think we'll see a pullback in about 12 more hours. And let's quickly take a look at the 3-day chart and then we're done. 9, 1, 2, 3. There's a small chance that this run to 9 could have had only a 4-candle pull up, and I hope that's not the case. But my fears hopefully will be rested very well once the daily chart is broken upwards, right? We still haven't crossed into the daily yet. It's been rejected off that cloud bottom, right? So yeah, that's it for this live stream, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask right now. I'll just wait for like a couple of minutes and then I'll go to sleep or code for a while. I have a project to finish tonight. So I'll just quickly wait to see if there are any questions. Okay, there are none. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. Good evening, good afternoon. Have a nice day.